acceleration is how fast you get to your max sprint, and sprint speed is how fast you can go overall. But we identified the need, even among the same players, to cover different roles and things like that. So like if you look at Van Dijk, for example, he's extremely fast, and yes, in the game he was fast, but with his low acceleration meant that he would be preferred over some other players, let's say, in a sprint. But then with lengthy, now Van Dijk is a lengthy player, he can actually start as slow as he would before, but he would get a boost in acceleration at the end on his curve. So he's going to easily get to the high point, and maybe he might reach his top speed, which is very high, earlier than other players. So it's basically to create a different gameplay dynamic, right? So for example, like I can use a explosive player to cover a space, but then he's gonna slow down a little bit. And then I can use a lengthy player to go and run the whole pitch and then catch a long through ball. So even players with the same attribute, and that's kind of where the design of this feature exists, right? It's like three players, even three exact players that are 99, both acceleration and sprint speed, they will behave differently in the pitch, and they will have different roles. So it gives more depth to team building and things like that, because you could pair an explosive defender with a lengthy defender. So you can have one to cover small spaces and another one to get like a striker that is on the breakaway, right? So
what we're saying here is it's more that it's no longer like a linear acceleration. So previously a player would accelerate on sort of a straight line, whereas now for lengthy players, as they reach the top end, they are going to get faster, quicker at that top end, and therefore they will have an advantage over a controlled player.
Exactly. So think about that controlled is kind of the middle ground, which is like a straight line that keeps going up. But then an explosive, it goes up faster and then it kind of tapers off. It keeps going up, of course, because you need the acceleration to always be positive. It keeps going up, but it goes up at a slower rate, and then control. So basically, explosive starts first, and then control would pass explosive, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of one of the generals. And lengthy is the last one to start, but lengthy will end up passing both control and explosive at the end, considering somebody with same pace and sprint speed. It gives that interesting balance to the game.
But I suppose something to clarify is, if all these players that we're talking about, explosive, controlled, lengthy, they've all got 90 sprint speed, are they all going to be, once they've reached their top speed, have been running for a bit, are they all going to be running at the same speed?
They're going to be running at the same speed, but let's say a lengthy player will reach their top speed first, right? So if both have 90 acceleration and 90 sprint speed, the lengthy player will reach their top speed first, and then since he's faster for longer, he will pass the other two. You know what I mean? But at the same time, the explosive player will have reached a speed, like a higher speed first. So if you imagine a race, the explosive guy starts first, the controlled guy is coming around, and then eventually the lengthy passes both of them because he will have a higher speed for longer. So it's a very interesting dynamic that you can create there.
Yeah. No, that does make sense to me, actually. Yeah, it's an interesting one, because you do just think acceleration, sprint speed, and think of them as they've always been very static, linear things. But actually, this makes a lot more sense that there's going to be that variation. I do get it now. We did have this question from Tommy saying, what will happen once players have pretty much all 90 pluses? Because once players reach all 90 plus, basically everyone would have the controlled acceleration style. Is that correct?
I think that is correct, because in a sense, there will be more players percentage-wise who will be in control, because what was driving us design-wise was to kind of recreate things that we see in real life and type of the running acceleration behaviors that we see in real lives, with the defenders catching up and having those long strides and really accelerate. Because you look at the videos, Van Dijk, Varane, they eating up the attackers, and you're like, wow, that's not happening that much in our game. But this is something they can reach up those top speeds at the end. So that was one of the things. So like Luka Modric getting like super explosive on the first steps, And something, again, we don't see that much because his stats are not, the default baseline stats are not that high. So it was created behind the different archetypes of the players, how they are their strengths and weaknesses and the spread of their stats. So yes, the feature is kind of naturally lies within the realm of more realistic real life football and the natural attributes spread. So around 80s, high 80s and 90s. But the more we go into the realm of team of the year and best cards with the 99 overall, 98 everywhere on the pitch with no kind of weaknesses. So then you kind of say in terms of their personality, yeah, they might lose a little bit of this spread between explosive, lengthy, and controlled. But at that time, we can say that's something as expected design-wise because, yeah, those players are they don't have, let's say, any weaknesses in their game. So,
So it becomes less impactful, perhaps, as it goes on.
Potentially, yes. But I could clearly see more defenders staying within the lengthy, maybe less attackers will be explosive because they will gain a little bit of strength, especially strikers. But maybe the wingers, being that position type, they will still be more explosive. We need to see.